Go ahead. I'm going to get myself an adult beverage. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
All right.
Good.
Just trying to make it happen over here.
Yeah. Do you still have some consulting engagements going on, or the things kind of slowed down for the moment?
I have one really good engagement. I usually don't do more than one or two at a time because it's just
Right.
me. Um, but I don't know. Part of me thinks I'm done training for other companies.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for quite some time. I'm not a huge fan of delivering other people's material,
Oh, I see. Sure.
um, which is going to hurt me financially in the short term. But I think if I can dive in and get my own classes
Mm-hmm.
in the long term, it'll be way more lucrative.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you about the financial piece of it because I guess you mentioned the classes that are, I know, $2,000 or $3,000 a pop. Is that the
Mhm.
ones that the companies are putting the material together for you to present?
Well, I get an hourly on those.
I see.
So if somebody buys my class, I get all the money.
Right.
If they buy their class, I didn't have to do any of the legwork to get the client,
Mm-hmm.
but I just get an hourly for that. And it's a good hourly, but you have 25 people in a class at $3,000 a pop and you're
Right.
making $4,500
Mm-hmm.
doing all the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just don't enjoy doing it anymore. And I find if I don't enjoy something,
Yep.
I kind of lose focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with this consulting that I've been doing, I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't get to meet as many people, but in this case, I'm not doing any on-site work anyway, so it's all remote.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
don't know. I'm kind of in a limbo situation right now. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you mentioned the past, which is it was interesting, but I can't appreciate it. It's like the financial side of it isn't what drives you, right? And so it's the way you have things set up right now, you have a good quote unquote work life balance and able to take care of your. You have a son. Is that
Yep.
how old is he?
He's 3.
Yeah, so I have a 5-year old, so I can definitely understand and appreciate trying to make sure the priorities are in place.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that you can do is, as an old man, look back and say, "Man, I wish I'd have been around my kid more."
Yeah, yeah.
That's like the worst possible thing you can say. Anyway, so uh, Verdi, is that correct? Is it Verdi?
Yeah, that's my last name. My first name is Harmeet, but I just put
Okay.
Verdi up. Yeah.
Everybody call you Verdi?
Verdi's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, my whole life I've been known by my last name, by my teachers, my coaches, my friends. So
Me
I know
too.
how that feels. Okay, so we're going to take a look. See where he's at and see if we can get him up to speed as far as the project, because he had some questions and I hadn't put up the recordings yet. So let's help him through. So
Yeah,
if we go
because
to the object manager, or go ahead. Did you have a specific question?
no, I was just saying what I did was I went to Schema and I set up the tables the way I thought they were going to be with the fields.
Let's take a look. So let's
And
look at your schema.
yeah. It's slow.
That's real slow. I think it's because maybe somebody joined. Let's see. Are you running Snagit? No, that's Zoom. Okay.
No, it's not me. I closed down a lot of tabs, so I've only got like 4 or 5 open. It's just taking up time. The post attendee. They're taking up some CPU.
Close that. Maybe another Zoom you were on or something.
I thought it was this Zoom, but that's fine. It looks like it still works. So
Yeah, that was. It looks like maybe you were on a different Zoom at some point.
Oh, okay.
So go to schema.
Mhm.
Tell you what, why don't we do some review and we'll see if, wow, it's like a really loud noise. Anyway, sorry. Why don't we do some review and we'll see if your machine speeds up a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Now I can see it. Or at least part of it. Okay. So if you could zoom out a little bit, I want to see the opportunity object.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I didn't select it.
Looks like the last thing you did was created the many-to-many relationship with a junction. Looks like it's down bottom right.
Down here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so pull that up, and I just want to ensure that your related lists all look correct. You can get rid of the user object. It makes things a little hairy.
Okay.
All right, so we have our opportunity record, and it looks like right now I have a one-to-many relationship between ops and saving summary, and a one-to-many relationship from opportunities to quality assurance. So I know that ops has how many related lists so far available?
2, right?
2 currently. So what we need, the saving summary has a lookup relationship. So if we delete the op, the saving summary would potentially still exist. But there's a master detail relationship between ops and QA. The one that you're missing currently is a master detail relationship between ops and assessments. You see how you don't have a related list on the op for the assessment?
Right.
So go to your elements tab there, grab your master detail relationship field and drag it on the child or the detail. Call it opportunity name and it's going to look up to the opportunity object.
Related to.
Back to the opportunity. So that was one small issue.
And this stuff that comes in, it says assessments. Is that accurate?
That's correct. It'll auto pop if you do it right.
Read right. Okay. Okay. So it's a one-to-many on assessment.
It's a one-to-many relationship. What it'll do is it'll put a related list called assessment on the op record, right?
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that all looks pretty good. I'm going to assume that your fields are all correct because it looks like you have most, if not all of them completed.
Yeah.
Total energy savings. I'm going to assume that your formulas are correct. So everybody in the class at this point, if he has all of his relationships in place and he has all of his fields in place, what did we do next? What is the goal at this point in his journey here? Where is he trying to get this to?
To an app, right? So the user can access the tables.
But the first milestone in our development.
Oh, the page layout.
Well, we want to get it to what? We always want to get every object to at least what? Record type. We want to get each object to record type. So if you haven't created a record type for each object yet, looks like you have one on the QA. I can't tell on the op. I'm going to assume you have fossil fuels and renewable energy. If you scroll down a little bit on the op, I can see the fields pane on the object itself, the little toggle or the little slider on the right-hand side of the opportunity component there. Scroll down so we can see all of the fields on the op. See the little slider?
Yeah.
Schema? Slide that slider down. And let's see, do you have record types for ops?
I don't think so.
Opportunity record type?
Opportunity owner, currency.
So it looks to me like you have not created your record types. So can somebody walk him through record type creation?
So go to object manager and then go to the opportunity.
Okay. How many do we need?
One on each.
So what's the first step of record type creation?
I need a page layout.
That's correct. So go to your page layouts for opportunities.
Okay. Is this how you get to it?
Sure. Go to the object manager for the opportunity object. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see page layouts.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Zhang. How you guys doing?
Welcome. And thank you.
So currently he has how many?
There's 4.
How many do you really need?
1
2.
or 2.
We
Or
need one for our currently existing business process for fossil fuels, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then one for renewable energy. So go ahead and delete the other 3. Keep the opportunity layout, and then delete everything and replace it with the op layout. So we'll make it to where we have the most restrictive organization.
Okay.
Does this all sound familiar, everybody?
Deja vu.
It helps to see it a few times. It really does.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay, hit the little delete there. There's a link, very small. It says delete. There you go. No idea why it does that.
Why did he go here?
Now replace that marketing layout with the opportunity layout. So yeah. And then do the same thing for the other 2.
Okay. Opportunity layout.
So we're going to delete the other 2, leaving only the op layout.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of not having a set timeline. It's a no man left behind policy here.
It's pretty good.
Ah, it's brutal. Try refreshing that browser.
It's the other thing, when you're on a roll and you want to get it done, it's just you have to sit and wait, and then it just
so how many gigs of RAM does your computer have?
You should have 16.
Does it? How many cores?
It's only got the one, probably Intel.
Okay. You can run what they call the not the optimizer, the octane score. So if you search octane score on Google, you can run your octane score and it'll tell you where you stand versus what they recommend.
Okay.
And that might help you optimize Lightning, because your problem right now is, number one, you're in Lightning. Number two, you're sharing on Zoom. So some of that is bandwidth as far as the internet connection as well, I'm sure.
Ryan, that's Octane, O-C-T-A-N-E?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Just want to make sure I get it.
If you want, we can run one and I'll show you what it looks like.
I'm game if the others are.
Yeah, it's going to be super important from a user adoption standpoint. If you go into an org and they want a Lightning implementation and they're all running like, 8 gigs of RAM, that's going to be a problem.
Right.
And if you don't let the powers that be know that they might have to drop some coin, you don't want to spring that on them.
No.
Okay, so now we're going to rename this layout. So edit that opportunity layout. And we're going to rename it by using the properties button in the center of the screen.
Okay.
For that page layout, we're going to rename it fossil fuels, opportunity page layout. So, I mean, I think from this point on, you can probably follow the book.
Okay, because I've got the tape. Yeah. I
mean, you need to get your 2 opportunity record types created, and then you need a record type for every other object, every other custom object, assessments, QA.
Right.
And then once we get it to record type, what did we do? Because at that point, when you're creating record types for each of these, at that point, you're doing the page layout correction, right? So you're fixing your mobile actions, and you're putting the fields that you want in the fields pane, and you're creating your related list. So go ahead and see the layout properties there in the middle of the screen. Change it to fossil fuels opportunity layout. Okay. So then we won't take time to do this, but you can do it on your own time. You would clean up the actions. It looks like you already cleaned up the as far as your publisher. No, you didn't. Okay. So you would clean all those actions up. We'll skip that for now. Scroll down and look. There's all your fields. So now you can look at your related list. Well, go to the related list in box 1. Box 1 top. Yeah, right there. Related list. And you should see assessments, QA, and savings summaries. Put those in. Assessment goes above products. And then QA goes after products. What's the problem?
There's no QA.
We don't have a QA object. So if you don't see a related list in a page layout, what does that mean?
It means we don't have the relationship built.
Very good. That is a concept that most people do not have a good grasp of. So what we would need to do is go and create a relationship between ops and QA. I think it is a master detail relationship on QA that looks up to ops.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want to hold up the class. I think I can manage that, and then if I get stuck, I'll maybe ping you or something.
Okay. Yeah. No problem at all.
Okay. I think I got it.
So, I mean, other than that, at that point, you're just building your page layouts, getting everything to record type. So for you, that's what I would give you as homework. Get everything to record type. Then class, what do we do after we get everything to record type?
We have to create a tab, don't we?
Well, you'll have to do your tabs, your page layouts, field level security, and cross-object formulas. Those are all limitations of schema. But once we got everything to record type and tested the application, you remember that?
Yeah.
What did we do after that?
We went to mobile and manipulated the screens, right, where the buttons.
Yeah, what did we use to control what you see on the highlights panel on a record page?
The compact layout.
Yes, very good. So get everything to record type, test the app, make sure that it works as your user. Then we're going to go to compact layout for everything. What did we do after compact layouts?
There was some other thing. I think it was to do with page layout. There was some
Record pages, right?
pages. Sorry, yeah, record pages. Yeah.
So we did all of our record pages then. And then you're pretty much to where we are.
Is that in the document?
Yeah, it's all in there.
Okay. All right. I'll follow along and then I'll.
Yeah, if you have trouble, let me know. We'll go back over it. I mean, this is a workshop. So
Yeah.
troubleshooting and stuff is very, very good.
Okay. No, it's good to learn this way, I think. So, yeah. Thank you.
I mean, there's always Trailhead if you like ClickPass, you know?
I like the shortcuts. I don't like to take too long over things. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I just when I do Trailhead, I find myself just crushing challenges, not even really trying to learn. I'm just trying to get the points.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, but it doesn't give you the depth of knowledge you need. You know, here you get the feel for it. You know, you get to know.
That's what I'm trying to give you is like a feel for. It's like riding a bike, you know.
Yeah.
Once you get up and rocking, it's like, oh, you know, I'll never forget this. That's kind of the level of understanding I'm trying to impart on you folks.
Right.
So okay.
I'll stop sharing then.
And
It's all yours.
all right, so we were doing some review, I think, weren't we?
Yeah.
I think we were to security. And we were on the profile, I think. Key points of the profile. What is it? Two of these open.
Gives permission.
Gives permission. It's what you can see and do with records that you have access to, that a user has access to.
Mm-hmm.
Over here on the right side of our matrix. It's number 3. What you can see and do with records that you have access to. It's also a template. Be assigned to a user or a group of users. And then we said, I think we got through all that, didn't we? We did everything on there, the app settings, tab settings, all of that. I think we were on what? Permission sets. I think we were over here actually. Sharing rules. What's a sharing rule? What are we sharing?
Access.
Sharing access. It's the highest level of access I can share with a sharing rule.
The read and the write.
Read, write. Think you'll see a test question on that?
Probably.
You think they're going to try and trick you into full access there?
Probably.
Yep. So what are our different, how do I do record level sharing?
By going directly into the user's account, and there's a button there that says sharing.
Yep, only in Classic. You're sharing
Yeah.
with a button. You're sharing access with a button. What's another way we do record level sharing?
Manual.
That's manual share, right? Is the record level.
Mm-hmm.
What else? We have manual shares. You remember teams, like op teams and case teams? We could share one record with a related list. Account teams, we're not sharing one record. We're sharing multiple, aren't we? What about object level sharing? How do we do that?
think that's going to be based on the profile.
Yeah.
Object level sharing based on a profile. Profile is access or permission.
Permission.
So it's not, what are we sharing with a sharing rule? Sharing access, aren't we? So for object level sharing, remember we went to where you find OWDs, security and sharing settings, and then you scroll down below OWDs and we shared Western with Eastern and Eastern with Western. We did a two-way share with one rule with public groups. You remember those? That's object level sharing. How would I share records to every record in an org?
Public OWD.
In OWDs, you could set them to what?
Read write.
Yep. Could I give them full?
No.
Good. Kind of been drawing this as we go here. What's number 6 over here? Remember this one? Field level security?
Yeah.
It's always a profile setting. Where can I find field level security?
It's
In platform.
It's in the profile, but don't click edit.
Fantastic. Very good. Don't hit edit, scroll down to record type settings and add them. What is a default record type?
Default is something that you find in the app as well as in the object itself.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Anybody remember default record type?
Meaning that's what they automatically get when they add a new record?
When they convert. So if you convert a lead, what type of opportunities are going to be created upon conversion? You can only choose one. That's the default record type. The one that it will default to either when they create a new record. No, I won't do that either. When you create a new record, you'll get a choice if you have both. But if you convert from a lead, that default record type is the one that will be created upon lead conversion. There's definitely a test question on that. Field level security is found on the profile. Do not hit edit. Go down to field level security and find it. I have two check boxes. One says visible and one says read only. What's it mean if I click visible in field level security?
You only.
So you can see it and edit it?
That's read and edit.
I'll read on it.
Yep. What if I check both?
Just read only?
Read only. What if nothing is checked?
Can't see, can't.
Can't see it at all. Field level security is also on the field of interest. So if you go to the fields area in the object settings and you can go to set field level security for that field, but it's still a profile setting. If I've got access and permission, if I own the record, what do I get?
Full access.
So then my profile says I have read only. I have a permission set that says read and edit. And then I got field level security on the rating field that says hidden. That's on the rating field. So up here, what would you get?
Read and edit.
You get read and edit. What would you get for the rating field?
It's like hidden.
Hidden, right? It's the most restrictive across this line here. So then what if I reverse this? we say they've got read only up here, and they've got read and edit and field level security on a field. What do they get up top?
Read only.
What do you get down here?
Read edit.
Nope.
Or read only there too.
Read only too. It's the most restrictive. That's the one that'll like confuse you in reality. But that's pretty solid. What if I do this? I don't own the record, so what level of access do I get?
None.
You don't have access.
Well, it depends on what.
Your permissions,
Well, if you own the record, what do you get?
full
Full
access.
Well, what if you don't own the record? What do you get?
None.
Well, it depends on what.
Depends on OWD.
OWDs, what are OWDs set to?
Private.
Pretty much private, right? We like private OWDs.
Mm-hmm.
So what level of access would they have at this point if they didn't own the record?
No
They-
access.
No
None.
access.
So then what do we do to find their access level?
Role and subordinates.
Check and see if there's a role subordinate relationship. What's the highest level of access I can give with roles?
Full access.
So what if there's no role in the hierarchy that they're assigned? What level of access do they have?
No access.
None. So what do we have to do at that point to get access?
Let's go
Yeah.
to stage.
You have to do the
Share
sharing.
control.
Sharing.
Yeah, we got to look at sharing. What's the highest level of access I can give with sharing?
Read and write.
Read and
Only.
edit. So let's say they got read and edit down here with a sharing rule. What level of access would they have overall?
Read edit.
Read and edit. Then over here on the profile, they've got create, read, edit, and delete.
Mhm.
Then there's a permission set that has read only. And then below that, our rating field is set to read only. So up here, what are they going to get?
Read only.
Up here?
Oh, they got everything. Have they delete as well?
Well, will they be able to delete?
I'm not sure what
Said
they have.
most restrictive, right?
Well, look, what level of access do they have?
Read write.
Read, write.
So what will they be able to do here?
Or just read write then.
Read and edit, correct?
Mhm.
You got to have both. This doesn't mean anything because they already have read. They got double read, so no big deal. What are they going to get down here for the rating field?
Read only.
Read only. Very good.
So Ryan, what about
There you go.
what about the other ones? The delete and the C. What was the C for? Create.
Yeah.
What about all those things? So you
Well-
said it's only read only. That's all they have, right?
Well, they would have read and edit here.
Read and edit. Right.
If they create the record, what are they going to have?
Full access.
So they would have cred,
Mm.
right? They would be able to do all that because they own the record and have full.
It's the most restrictive, huh? That's basically the
Yes. Yep. Cross that line there. So it's saying if you only have access to read write, you're not going to be able to delete.
Mm.
You can read, you can edit, but you can't share. You can't transfer ownership, and you can't delete the record because you don't have full.
You can, well, if you want to add a yaddy with the permission set, or how,
Wouldn't matter because you would still have no access with, you would have permission without access at that point.
So this person doesn't have, is not the owner. The records are being shared through the sharing rules setting.
Mhm. Yep.
And for the profile, they'll have, even though they have under their profile, they have create, read, edit, delete,
Mhm.
but they only have access, or they only have permission for read and read only, because we're looking at the most restricted one since they are not the owner.
Well, no.
No? Okay.
Okay, so OWDs are set to private. We got no access there. Role hierarchy, didn't have that, but we did get read write through a sharing rule on this record.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
So then their profile has all 4 of those permissions selected in the object settings: create, read, edit, and delete.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a permission set assigned their user detail record and permission set assignments that gives them read only on that same object.
Mm-hmm.
So without looking below where field level security is, what are we going to get up here?
Read edit only.
Yeah, because that's their access level. That's their level of access is read and edit or read write. So you're not going to be able to delete records.
So what's the point of putting create and delete then? What role are they playing here? If they are just
Well,
getting.
That's a great question. So if they create a record, what does that mean if they create it? They automatically become what?
The owner.
So if they're the owner, what level of access do they have?
Full access.
So now what can they do?
Everything. View,
Correct, right?
edit. Yep.
But in this case, they don't own the record. They got read write through a sharing rule. So even though their permissions say they have permission, they don't have access to do it. You got to have both.
Got it. Okay.
And then down here, if this was our rating field, for instance, what does that mean? If it's set to read only and they have read and edit up here, but they've got read only and field level security, what are they going to get on the rating field?
Read only.
Read only.
Read only, because it's the most restrictive on this side of the line as well. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to allow them to have delete, you'd have to give them extra permission on sharing rule?
You'd have to give them extra access.
Access, sorry,
So we
access.
couldn't do it with a sharing rule. What's the highest level of access I can give with sharing?
Read only.
Read only, or no, the highest level I can give with sharing is
Read
read
write.
write.
Read
Yeah.
and write. Oh
You
yes,
can't
read
give
and write.
full. If I want to give them full, what are the ways to get full access?
Transfer them as an owner.
Transfer them the record, give them ownership of the record. That's one way. What's another way to give full access?
Manual share?
Nope. What's the highest level of access I can give with a sharing rule?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's good.
They're going to try and trick you on that on the exam. I promise.
So vested, right?
You
VESTD.
can view, edit. You have the access when you have full to view, edit, share, transfer, and delete.
Yeah.
So we said we can get full access through ownership. What's another way? Can I do
Transfer.
it? Can I do it through OWDs?
Mm,
Can I get full access to OWDs?
Yes.
No. What's the
No.
highest level of access I can give with OWDs?
Read write.
Public read write transfer would be the highest level I can give, right? In OWDs. I can't give full, but
role hierarchy.
I can give it through the role hierarchy, but that's going to be for every record that user owns through the role subordinate relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And only if they have the object settings that would give me full access. So while you can get full access this way, it might not be the best route.
No.
Mm-hmm.
How else can I give full access?
Hmm.
To give them for permissions.
There's only one way to give access with permission. What is it?
View all, modify all.
View all, modify all. If we do it in the system permissions, that's for everything. So that is admin, God level stuff here. But you can also do it on the object of interest as well in the object settings. If you remember, I also mentioned that we can do queues. Can give us full access as well. The queue owns the record and everyone in the queue has full. But that's it.
So if your permission is VAMA, there's nothing to do on the access side?
Well, that is the only way to give access with permission is view all, modify all.
Okay.
So what this does over here is if you have view all, modify all over here, it says you have full access regardless of anything over here.
Okay.
It's like overriding all of it. It's like, you know what? You're an admin. You have full access to every record as if you owned it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I remember that.
It's not too bad. It's been a while since we covered it like that, so I'm kind of impressed. And you'll notice here in the review, all of these terms you should be able to intelligently discuss, define, and most importantly, demonstrate. If you can't demo this stuff, you will not pass the exam unless you cheat. Right? You have to be able to go into that Salesforce org in your brain and say, all right, or OWDs, where are they? Okay, well, I go to security sharing settings. What do? They manage object level access to records that a user does not own. How are they managed? With the internal access settings. If they're set to private, that means the owner gets full. Everybody else gets none, right? You got to be able to do that in your head. Right. And you got to be able to demo it in your head. For all of these terms. What's a public group? If you remember correctly, we grouped Eastern and Western together, 2 roles. We grouped them using the sharing model, and then we shared the group with itself. So public groups aren't necessarily sharing anything, but we're grouping roles and users and other public groups together so that we can use them to share later with one of our other sharing rules.
So
go ahead.
Public groups is role sharing, right?
Well, you're combining roles. You're combining users, roles, and other public groups together to make a new group.
Okay, users, roles. I know that was a question.
And once they're grouped, then you can share them with an object level share, for instance. Or you might share them through a manual share.
Okay.
The last radio button there, describe how folders can be used to organize and secure communication templates. The idea here is that the folder itself holds, say, email templates, for instance, and then we can manually share that folder using the sharing model. So what the folder does is it protects what is in the folder. It's access to what is in there. It's also organization. But mainly it's about giving users only what they need. Imagine setting the folder to private and then going in and manually sharing that folder with users or groups of users or public groups. Does that make sense? If not, we'll cover it when we get into the data side pretty extensively. So don't let that bother you.
Okay.
What does this make you think of? Standard object architecture.
Schema.
Mm-hmm. Also think along the lines of what is an app?
It's a group of objects to fulfill.
Group of objects and relationships that meets a business requirement. What's an object?
It's a table.
What are the columns on the table?
Fields.
What are the rows?
Records.
Records.
Yeah.
What are the sheets if it were an Excel sheet? What do we call those?
Tabs.
Tabs. What's a tab?
It's representation of a table or group.
Visual representation of an object.
Okay.
Relationships, key points.
One to many, many to many.
Lookup relationship, right? So if we have a lookup relationship,
yeah,
it's parent, child, right? One to many. Where's the field go?
A child.
On the child. It's loose, meaning what?
Individual owners for each record.
Each one has an owner, so security is controlled by the owner of each. What happens if I delete the parent?
Child stays orphan.
We call that orphan. Can I pull information from the parent to the child?
Yes.
With what?
COF.
Cross object formula. Can I do that in schema?
No.
Nope. Cannot do it in schema. Must use the object manager for it. Can I aggregate information from the child back to the parent?
Yes.
Nope.
You can.
Not with a lookup.
Okay, not with a lookup.
Master detail, key points. You got a master. We got a detail. Means one to many. It's also parent-child. Same thing. Where's the field go?
Details.
On the child.
On the detail, right? And then it's a strong relationship, meaning what?
Cascade delete.
That's one thing, but only the master has an owner, right? Security is controlled by the owner of the master. What happens if I delete the master? The detail is also deleted in what's known as cascading delete. Can I pull information from the master to the detail?
No.
I'll say no.
Yep. You can do it with a cross-object formula, just not in schema. It's the same thing for both.
Okay.
Can I do this?
Detail master summary. Yeah. Should be
Roll
able
up summary field. What can I do with it?
to create totals.
Count, sum, min, and max?
Yeah.
Think that's a test question?
That's for sure.
If you see the words roll up summary, be on the lookout for these.
That's the yeah.
Because there'll be these, and you know, if you don't know them, it's a missed question. If you do know them, it's a free one. Count, sum, min, max. Where's that field go? On the master.
Mhm.
If I have a master detail relationship, can I do a standard to a standard? Standard object with a master detail relationship where another standard object is the detail?
No.
Why not?
Because you're adding fields then? If you
No.
create summaries? No.
Anybody remember? Standard, standard, custom, standard,
Standard custom.
standard, custom, and custom, right? What was the key understanding here with master detail? If this was lookup, these would all be fine. There would be no problems here.
Oh, the ownership.
Yeah. Standard objects have to have an owner, remember?
Yeah.
So would this one work?
No.
Why not?
Because there'll be two different owners.
Standard object must have an owner. In master detail relationships, the detail by nature does not have an owner. So that wouldn't work. The same thing goes for this one.
Yeah.
These two would then be available. Does everybody know how to create, delete, and customize fields in Salesforce?
Customize fields. So yeah.
How would I create a field?
You got an object.
Object manager and do it there. You could also do it where?
You can also do it in schema.
Do it in schema. If I do it in schema, what are the limitations of schema?
You can't do record types.
Tabs, page layouts,
Yeah.
field level security, cross object formulas.
Right. Yeah.
What can I change on a standard field?
Description.
To change the description,
Text.
help text.
That's it.
Well, think about your stage pick list. What can I change on the stage pick list?
Default.
The values, right? So you can go in on pick list data types. You can change the values
Okay.
for standard. Custom objects. How do we create a custom object? Same way, but we have data types. What's a data type?
It's the type of information that Salesforce is looking for. Like, for example, if it's a currency or if it's a text or if it's a pick list, stuff like that.
Very good. Memorize all those. Go through and know the data types. There'll be a test question that says, which of these are data types? You'll have 5, you got to choose 3. We can also change on a standard field. I forgot to mention the label, the field label. under tabs, names, and labels. So it's field label, description, help text, and pick list values. What's a page layout?
It's where your record types and data will appear on the page as the user would see it.
Yeah, the page layout works along with record types if you've enabled record types for an object. But think literally when you see the term page layouts, think of the editor. Box 1 and box 2. Box 1 influences box 2. You've got your fields, and then you've got your publisher actions, and then you got your lightning experience actions. Then you got your buttons, then you got your details where the actual fields go, your sections. Then you got your related lists. What would it mean if you don't see a related list on an object's page layout?
Relationships missing. Like
You're missing the relationship field on the child. What are the implications of deleting fields?
You could have a cascading effect for other items.
Well, if you delete a field, you're not going to have anything cascade, but there's a similar piece to this that does kind of, it's in the same vein. So think about what is a field in Salesforce?
Maybe using a formula, right? So
That's exactly it. So a field is just a column, right, in our sheet. That's a field in our sheet. So what could happen if we delete a field? Number one is data loss. Obviously, if I delete a column, then we would lose the data in that field. Number two, I just say automation, taking into account formulas and validations and workflows and process builder processes. If that field is being used in some sort of formula or automation or process or flow, it will not let you delete it. It'll say, nope, can't do that. It's being used in a formula elsewhere. Number three, just remember 15 days. You get 15 days in the recycle bin. So if you delete a field, it'll be available in the deleted fields area, the recycle bin, for 15 days. After that, it's gone forever. And the test question you'll see will be a 3 out of 5 question. So these 3 would be your answers. Questions there? Given a scenario, determine how to create and assign page layouts, record types, and business processes. Hey, look, doesn't that sound an awful lot like what we did in the app? What are the key points of record types? What's the first thing we do?
page layout.
Second thing is what?
Create a record type.
What's a business process?
Oh yeah, business process. Yeah.
Business process is what?
It's just stages, right? The stages of the
Well,
business.
if we're talking about the op, it's our stage pick list.
Yeah.
Right? So we're isolating, if we have multiple processes, which values we want in our pick list. This is only going to be for standard objects. If it's a custom object, it's just another pick list field. What's number 3? Create our record type. And then number 4, as a part of record type creation, we're always going to assign it to a profile. Think about where record type settings exist. They're on the profile. Do not hit edit. Scroll down. Your record type settings are there. So really, for the admin exam especially, really understand the idea of record types and why we use them. On the exam, it'll be like, blah, 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 record type, question mark. Think of this, in the answer set and the question, all of this stuff should be in it. So in the answer set and the question, you should see all of these terms in the answer and they should be applied in the right place. So really understand how a record type gets created, and it'll really help you with any of the scenario questions you might get on record types, because they tend to be scenario questions and they tend to be relatively difficult. So just know that 1 through 4 on record types. That record type keyword should make you think exactly that. And then you should be able to divine the answer just from knowing that. What's the sales process?
Opportunity.
It's on the opportunity object. What is it physically?
It's a series of stages.
Okay, yeah, it's a series of stages. Where do we house the sales process on a record?
Opportunity object, no?
It's on the object, but which field?
On the stage.
Stage pick list, right? We covered that quite a bit already. These productivity features, they are legacy at this point. Things like opportunity update reminders, Salesforce offline, what's another one? Partners, competitors related lists. They're all very old, basically legacy kind of tools, because we have the process builder now. For some reason, it still remains here. Just go to help and training and search productivity features on opportunities and sales productivity features, and it'll show you the ones that they want. But if you remember opportunity update reminders, competitors, partners, what's another one? Oh, Salesforce offline. All of those are potential answers for those. But I don't even cover them because they're so obsolete. You would never use them. I'll give you an example. I'm going to go in the object manager here. Let's see, maybe I should do, let's see what we got here. Yeah, it needs, okay, it needs to be on the op. They have this related list here called competitors. Now I can't remember which one I did. Fossil fuels or renewable. Let's try this one. Ah, didn't show up. Oh, probably because I didn't add the. Oh, maybe they don't even have it on Lightning anymore. That could be. But what it was in Classic, they might not support it because it's really dumb. Let me switch back to Classic. All right, opportunities, solar array. Not on there either. Did I put it on the... There we go. See this competitors related list here? So you're listing a competitor name with strengths and weaknesses. What does that do for us?
Assess the
Well, what is a competitor? Think about it.
competition.
Are they a company?
Yeah.
Where do we log companies?
Contacts.
Well, the company is going to be an account, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Don't we have a related list that we, or I'm sorry, a record type that we created? So why would you manage that in a related list when you could just do it with a lookup field and have all the fields you want? See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to do that. They also have opportunity update reminders where you can put in some criteria and it'll send you a reminder about that particular opportunity. But that was created before we even had workflow. Now you would do all that in the process builder. So these tools that they're talking about, just search them and read about them, know their names, but I wouldn't spend too much time on. Products and price books. What's a price book?
It gives you like coupon, gives you pricing of a exactly.
Well, the price book, did we do these?
No,
We haven't got this far yet, have we?
no.
So we're like right here as far as our review. How much of the exam is that? See, let's say we got half of this here. So 7 plus 14. What is that, 22? 7 plus 22, that's 35. 42.
We're about 45% of the way through.
We're a little further than that, but
According based on the percentages.
that's true. That's true. The beauty of this, however, is when we get here, if you know it on the lead side, then you automatically know it on the case side. So we'll learn both of these at the same time. Cases have a couple of extra automation or management capabilities, but they have almost everything that the leads have as well. So if we learn one, we pretty much learn both. So while it seems like this is a huge part of the exam, which it is, generally speaking, it's not a huge part of this class. It doesn't take a whole lot of time like security and relationships do, and app development. So we're over 50%, I would say. We're probably more like 60 to 70% of the way finished as far as number of hours left in my standard class that I teach. So products and price books. Let's discuss this. What time is it? 3. Okay. So for our situation here, I'm in the wrong word. So if we look at schema, what am I doing? There we go. All right. So if I pull up opportunity, well, let's do price books first. And of course, it's 5 million miles away. And a long, slow burn there. There we go. All right. So according to schema, what do we see here as far as price books? What can we tell by looking at schema?
That the price book is the child to opportunity.
The price book is the
I'm
child?
sorry. I'm sorry. Price book is the parent to opportunity.
Very good. So a price book can have many opportunities, which makes sense if you realize that the price book is like a catalog. So for our situation, how many price books do you think we need?
2.
We could have 2. My real answer here would be it depends, because for our fossil fuel side, the way that one would work is, and just traditionally speaking, you would have what we would call distribution, and we would have what we call OEM. Anybody know what that means?
Original equipment manufacturer.
Original equipment manufacturer. So distribution, the distribution channel, traditionally speaking, has a location with a warehouse. And in that warehouse, they keep our products. In this case, the products are industrial generators. So they would have, hang on a second, there's a dog loose, and I live on a really busy road here. Let me make sure somebody's out here. Give me just 1 second. Sorry, guys. Okay, I got my wife on the job. And I think they left their gate open. So they would have 2 separate sides of their company. One would be distribution. Distribution meaning that they have a location, and at that location, they keep our products and services. And they sell them, but we give them what we call a multiplier. And that multiplier might be like a 0.30. Multiplier meaning that they're getting 30% off list. So they would say whatever list price was times 30%, and that's their cost. Well, that's their discount, excuse me. So then you would take that 30%, subtract it from list, and that's their margin. Now they might take that multiplier and give some of it to their client. They might give them, 15% off and only take 15. But that way we pay the distribution through what they sell, and we do it through this multiplier. Their margin is the multiplier times list. So 30% of list would be theirs. And they usually have lots of part numbers. So they would have like our whole catalog of products and services listed, and they would sell those to what we call end users, which is the end customer, the facility that they're selling to. We used to call them mom and pop facilities, small places where they're doing, they're not creating millions of products with our product in it like the OEM would. So what original equipment manufacturers do is they're using our generator in their product. So while they wouldn't have a huge list of products that they purchase for us, they might just have one part number or one product that we sell, but they might buy a whole lot of them every year. Let's say they do 1,000 of these a year. So with that volume, we can't sell to them through distribution. We have to deal with them direct. And the distribution side knows this because our competitors will go in and undercut us and deal directly with OEMs to get the best price. So their multiplier is higher. They get a better multiplier for the volume. So who pays more in this situation? Distribution will pay more. The OEM will pay less. Which one has more part numbers or more products?
Distribution.
Distribution. Which one has less? OEM, right? So how many price books would I need here?
Likely a lot more for the distribution than you would for OEM.
Well, price book 1 and price book 2, right?
Yeah.
OEM and distribution. Another thing that you'll need to understand about price books is that we restrict access to the price book. How do we restrict access? There's only one way. There's only one way to restrict access in Salesforce. What is it?
OWD.
Yep. So OWDs we set to private. I think in OWDs for price books, it's like no use. It's not private. It's like we set it to no use, but it means essentially the same thing. So we tighten it down and say no use. And then the only people that can see the price book at that point would be an admin. But we can then go in and manually share that price book with the roles that need it. That way you could have a distribution role and an OEM role. As far as sales, OEM sales, distribution sales. So then when they go in to add products to an opportunity, they're only going to have the price book that they need. We're going to restrict it down and then share it with just the right roles.
Okay.
See what I mean? If not, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It might clear some things up. The other object in play here, by the way, is what's called opportunity products. So let's take a look at it real quick.
So distribution and OEM, is that for each line of business? Is that for the?
That's correct. That would be one model for price book generation.
Mhm.
In this case, that's probably their model. I come from a similar industry in a former life. I used to sell to tier 1 automotive. Bells and whistles and cable and drives and, you know, relays, widgets, right? But it's a very similar model here is what they would be doing. So what's this one tell us? What do we know about opportunity products just by looking at schema?
Related list.
It's a related list on the opportunity. See that? It's a one-to-many relationship. The weird thing about how these are set up, and it's one of the only places you'll see this in Salesforce, is that price books and products are both kind of layered together in the related list on the op called products. So you choose the price book that you want on the product related list on the opportunity. Let me show you what it looks like. So the first thing it needs you to do is to choose your price book. See this? Looks like I did these already in another class. I think I'm in the wrong org here or something. But I have my 2 price books. And that price book only has 1 product at a lower list price. I'll delete these and recreate them for you so you can see them. Where is the select for this? That's really weird. It's not letting me move forward for some reason. But the first thing they would do is choose their price book. And then you would add your products. This one's going to have more products at a higher price. There's that GC 1060 at 100 grand instead of 35. There we go. For some reason, it wouldn't let me next on through. Quantity 1. Save. So now I have the product or service listed in the related list, and it also fills out the amount field, and it will lock the amount field. So you cannot change it. So that's in a nutshell, products and price books. Let me go ahead and delete these and show you how to create them. So I'm going to go to view all here and find my price books object from the list. And then I will just delete one of these here. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to delete the OEM. Oh, crap. I'll just create two new ones here to make this super easy. So I'm going to create a new price book. I'll just call it DIST. Make sure it's active or it won't be available. And then I'm going to create another one called OEM, and I'll just call it PB so we can see the difference. Make sure it's active and save. So now I have my two price books that I created. And now I can go back and look and see them listed in my price books tab. So we have OEM, PB, and DIST here. Distribution needs products. And it doesn't have any here. So we would want to add products to the price book. And in this case, these are the ones that already existed before we even came into the company. So I'll just select all of these. And add them at their current pricing for distribution. And save. So now my distribution price book has some entries. Then I'm going to need to go in and add an entry to my OEM price book. Did this one have, how many products did this one need? Distribution had many, right? So this one just needed the one. This one needed the GC 1060. But we were going to do it for 35,000 for that price book. And it's just that easy. So now if I go to an op, take a look, choose price book, and I can change to one of my new ones here, OEM price book. That should just have one product available at a lesser cost, which is right here. That will then lock the amount field and logs our products and services like line items on an invoice. If they choose the other one, we'll call it the distribution price book. That one should have many products available at a higher cost. Any questions there? There's a pretty good exercise on this in Trailhead if you want to look up price books of products, if you need some more hands-on, but this is a really good scenario for just memorize the scenario and you'll get the question right on the exam. They don't use the exact same scenario, but if you remember mine and memorize the key points, you'll have the test question.
Okay.
Let me show it again. In our case, how many price books did we have?
2.
One was called distribution and one was called OEM. Which one had more products?
Distribution.
Distribution. Which one had less?
OEM.
OEM. Which one cost more?
Distribution.
Distribution. Which one cost less?
OEM.
OEM. How many price books did I need? book 1,
2.
price book 2. The other piece to this was the security side. So right now, depending on what my security settings are, users will see both or none. How do we restrict access? Salesforce, only one way.
OWD.
Where do I find OWDs?
Security settings.
Security sharing settings, right?
Yeah.
You'll notice that our default internal access setting for price books should be set to no use. Or I'm sorry, no access. So that means unless you're an admin, nobody sees it. So if OWDs are private and you don't own the record, what level of access do you have?
None.
None. So right now, Joe wouldn't see it. If I want Joe to see the price book, I need to go to the price book and share it with a manual share. Any thoughts on how to do that? Can I share here? What are the key points of a manual share?
It's for only.
One at a time.
It's one at a time. How's it done? How do we do manual shares?
By going into Classic.
That's right. Go into Classic. Go into the all tabs area here in Classic. We're going to find our price books.
So is price books, is it like secure so only one user can see the pricing?
Well, right now, nobody can see it except admins.
Okay.
So what we would want to do at this point is share it manually with only those that need it using the sharing model. See?
Uh-huh.
So we could have a role called distribution sales, and we could have a role called OEM sales, and only share each price book with those that need it, as opposed to everybody having every price book. You can see how it could be an issue if you're using multiple price books and somebody accidentally chooses the wrong one, right?
You probably want to guard the pricing, right, from other people, is what I'm thinking.
Well, you want to guard the pricing from, if I'm a distribution salesperson, usually those folks are not out courting OEMs. Distribution tends, from the GenWatt side of things, they would have what they would call a regional district manager, right? And that person would work directly with distribution only. So you wouldn't want to even give them the ability to see the OEM pricing.
Right.
Because, you know, the pricing is so different. You don't want users accidentally choosing the wrong price book.
Yeah, so it's critical.
Other ways that we use products and price books is volumetric pricing. So silver, gold, and platinum level customers, they might get pricing based on the volume that they purchase. Another thing you might see is different lines of product. When I was working for a manufacturer's rep and distributor, we had something along the lines of 40 different catalogs of product that we sold. Because we were the distribution at that point, essentially. So we were a distributor. So we would have, 15, 20, 30 different catalogs of product, each with its own list price. And we'd have our multiplier for each line of products. So that'd be another way you might set these up. If it was retail and it wasn't selling generators, we could have a totally different structure, couldn't we? A retail setting, the manufacturer would sell to distribution, and distribution would get the best price, right?
MSRP and fleet vehicles.
That's it. So questions on this? Okay. From now on, things are way easier than anything we've discussed up to now. So, you know, the hard part is over. If you've made it to this point, it's smooth sailing from here on out. But I think everybody can see that if you don't understand what we've already talked about, you cannot be an admin, can you?
No.
I mean, if you don't understand security, can you be an admin? Not a good one. And you know how many people out there don't understand security that are admins? I mean, it is off the charts. Just about everybody. Just about everybody has a weakness in security.
They're certified, right?
Yeah, I could memorize a bunch of flashcards too.
So Ryan, how did you, when you were first learning this, how did you really truly understand all of security? Was it just through demoing, but then also where were places that you'd go for help when you needed to, you know, fix some holes?
Oh, okay. So for me, it was 5 to 8 years of banging my head against the wall. I learned through implementations. I learned from doing projects. It's a great way to learn, not so great for the client though. You with me?
Yes, I hear you.
You're probably going through some of that right now. You said you're doing some project work, right?
Yes.
So you're going to run into these things where you're just like helpless. You just don't know. It's like, I don't know. And I don't know what to tell him. And I can't find anything on it. You know, my advice there is, I don't know what to tell you. I've been there a million times. I didn't really have any mentors, frankly. I was a sole admin. I came up in the time of the rise of the accidental admin. So it just landed on my desk. Nobody else knew how to do it either at the org I was in. So it truly was a learning experience, the whole thing. The actual implementation is what taught me. Now, as far as how did I learn to teach it in such a way where people can understand it, you know, I can't even tell you how I came up with the matrix. It just kind of developed over time.
I think that just basically experience was your teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great way to learn, like I said, but if I can shave off some of the rusty edges of your game and shave, you know, 4 years of banging your head against the wall off of your career, then that's great. I wish I'd had somebody that would do that for me, you know. I wish I'd had somebody, but it just didn't materialize that way. I would say for you guys, try and find that person at this point. Either internally if you're working for somebody else, or maybe through the Salesforce community mentorship program. You know, get to join the community. I never did. I never really got on board with the Salesforce community, and that probably hurt me in a lot of ways. So try, just, you know, dig in, start asking and answering questions in the community.
And then also the Salesforce Saturday is a great way to get introduced to others as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the networking is key. But if you can't speak the language, you can network till you're blue in the face.
Right, but actually it's a good way to ask questions when you find somebody who might know the answer to your question, or in some cases, where at the conclusion of the Salesforce Saturday, or at least part of it anyway, there's a group chat where people say, okay, who's got some projects or issues that they're stuck on? And now
That's
you've
awesome.
got a whole room full of people who can hopefully quickly answer your question and move, you know, get you moving along.
We're about to talk about the communities here shortly, so I won't do a huge spiel on it, but the success community has an answers section that's also very good for that, where you can ask questions, and other Salesforce admins and developers and users answer your question, and then they get brownie points for answering, right? So you give them the best answer if they answer your question, and then if they get enough best answers, they get the MVP badge. But yeah, that's definitely great resources. Anywhere you can get with a group of people that know what they're talking about, soak that up. Because otherwise you're just going to be banging your head against the wall like I did. Let's see, where were we? Okay, products and price books. Now we could also say that there may even be a third price book in our situation, wouldn't it? What would our third price book be? We had distribution and OEM for the fossil fuel side, but what about renewable? We could probably have a third one for renewable. I won't go through that right now, but we could. And then finally, here's where we need to be. So we're going to kind of change gears here. We've been talking architecture and security and who sees what and how do we create tables and how do we manipulate fields and how do we move things around the page layout that's so it's a good UI in mobile and Lightning. How do we create record pages to use component-based development to create distinct and creative user interfaces that meet our requirement all the way down to the user level. You know, it's been really, truly, you know, field level security and all that kind of stuff, admin stuff. Now we're going to start getting into automation, which is more involved with the app builder certification. There is some automation stuff in admin, obviously, because we're going to discuss it now, but there's a lot more on automation in process builder, and we can learn both at the same time. The functionality doesn't change because the certificate is different. What I will say is that the cert for admin tends to be less scenario based than app builder. App builder is like 30% automation. So if in my experience, if you can pass admin, then you can probably already pass app builder. They're like 85% the same test. So the first set of automation tools that we had that kind of came out of the ether were what we called lead and case automation tools. So at first they didn't have any automation, and then they came up with the automation had to be done with code. Then they came up with the first programmatic tools to allow button click admins, people that don't code, ways to automate their processes. And they did it with very specific tools. The lead automation tools, what you have to do is really think, okay, lead automation, it's also known as lead management. You'll hear them called the same thing. So we have lead automation or lead management. The first one we've already covered to exhaustion. So lead conversion is the first automation tool. How does that work, by the way? What happens when I convert a lead?
It goes into opportunities, and the account and contact would also be updated as well.
Account, contact, and or opportunities. And then which record type gets chosen upon conversion for each one of those objects?
Default.
The default record type, very good. So we kind of covered all that. So we know that part. The next part of this, you got to think, all right, how do we collect leads? How do I get leads into the platform? So let's kind of brainstorm on that. How do I get a lead into Salesforce?
And it could be through a website, a business card,
Email.
Email,
Excel spreadsheet import.
Okay, we could do
manual
an import using a data tool. We could hit the new button and enter it manually, right? You said website. That's usually how we want to do it, isn't it? We want to drive them to a contact us form somewhere. So this is what's known as web to lead. Web to lead. And what it does is it allows you to create a form in the form of HTML code where you just basically choose the fields that you want in the form, and it generates the code, which you can then hand off to your webmaster and have them style it for you. So I'll go ahead and create one of these. You guys want to do this along with me because we're going to use this for the rest of the automation stuff. So the first thing we'll do is go to setup. And then in administration over here on our setup tree, we're going to look for web to lead. Web to lead under marketing. If you want to get confused, read all this nightmare. Just hit create web to lead form in the center of the page. And the first settings we can choose here are the fields in the form. So for the lead object, here's all the available fields. Here's the fields that they have selected for us out of the box. You think it's better to have more or less fields here?
Less.
Less fields, right? The more fields you have, the less likely they are to complete it. Should we be putting social security numbers in here?
No.
Probably not.
I don't think that would be a good idea.
No. We've all been on the web and had a form where they ask for so much, we're like, you know what? I don't even want the product anymore. Right? So be careful of this. I'm just going to add the industry field here just to show you. The return URL. I'll put my website here. Normally we would do a reCAPTCHA situation here because we want to eliminate the Nigerian Prince emails. But since we're not really worried about that and we're not going to do that, I'll just uncheck this and then hit generate. So it should look just like this. And then if you control A, that'll select all of this code in HTML. It's just, this is the code saying we want a form, and then here are the values that are available in the pick list. And then there's a submission button there. It's very, very simple, but take that, copy it. And then in Notepad, won't let me grab it for some reason. Oh, it's because I didn't open it. There we go. Notepad. I'm going to paste this in Notepad. And then I want to file and save as. And I'm going to call it web to lead .html. And then down here, you want it to be all files. And the outcome will, oh, we want to save it to your desktop. Excuse me. Don't forget to do that. So what it's going to do is it's going to put a little icon on our desktop called Web to Lead. And now if I go to my desktop, we should see, wrong screen here. Man, I got a lot open. You should end up with this. And if you double click on that, you'll get your form. It ain't pretty, but it's mine, right? So this is Web to Lead. You would hand that HTML off to your webmaster. They would style it to your marketing style guidelines, and you're good to go, ready to rock. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some info here. Put my email, doesn't really matter. Oh. Desired outcome, there's my splash page back to the website. Desired outcome is to see that lead in Salesforce now. Go back to my pace or my sales application. And on the lead object, we should now see Jerry Garcia. Make sure you go to, let's try today's. It should be in there. There it is. This is called a web to lead form. So why don't you guys take a moment and build this thing. If you need any help, let me know. I'd be happy to walk you back through it. But we're going to use this for the rest of our demos for automation, so don't skip this one. Anybody need help? give you guys just a moment here.
Are there any preferred web to lead programs, like external sources, that would get you to this if you didn't have it already integrated with Salesforce?
You could use an app from the App Exchange to create forms. You can use the APIs that Salesforce has available to enter records. You could put this in an email, right? I've used an app called Zapier to create records without using the web to lead form, but I would argue that if you can use the web to lead form, just use it because it works really well. And I'll be back in just one moment.
Brian, quick question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. What did you put under the URL?
I just put my website. You can put any website you want in there.
Okay.
That's just like the splash page after they sign up.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'll give me just one moment. I shall return. Everybody get it?
Ryan, what did you enter under the reCAPTCHA API?
Just uncheck it.
Okay, check that. Okay.
Yep, just uncheck it. That is to keep from getting unwanted connections, like the, you know, your Italian grandfather left you $4 million kind of stuff. Have you seen those? The Nigerian prince email. I get a lot of them on my WordPress site. People trying to sell you web development services.
Or SEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I supposed to be getting I'm not sure if I got this everything here. I'm not sure how did you get it to the notepad? Was it automatically was supposed to get there?
No, I opened it up and pasted the code into Notepad. I just stopped sharing. If you want to share your screen, I'll walk you through it. All right. So did you create the form yet? See, create web to lead form in the middle of the screen there.
Yes.
Did you put it in Notepad?
Not yet.
Okay, so you're gonna have, you did copy the code though?
No.
Okay, so create web to lead form. It's
I
in
did
the
that.
middle.
Web to lead.
Well, you'll need to get the code. So see the button in the center of the screen kind of hiding there, like dead smack in the center of the screen? It says web to lead. There you go. Grab that. And then add the industry field. And then your return URL, you can just put any website you want there. All right, there you go. Generate down at the bottom. Uncheck that box. There you go. Generate. And then Control A, the code inside that box.
Yeah, that's what I was missing.
And
Okay.
then copy. So Control
Copy to the notepad.
Yeah, copy that and paste it into the notepad.
Okay.
So go back to the code there. Control A. And then Control C. Then Control V. You could try to right click Control A up there. You want to highlight all that code, so Control A. And then right click the highlighted area and copy. Now drop that in your notepad. There you go. File and save as. And then you want to go to desktop.
And
then we want webdelete.html. Web to lead.html, and save that as all files instead of text. There you go, and save. All right, now you should be able to go to your desktop and you should see the icon for web to lead. So just minimize out of everything.
right there.
There you go.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else need help? Let's see. It's probably a good place to stop. So homework would be, is anybody completely finished with the app all the way through record page? If not, do that. And then if very beginning of class on Tuesday, we'll do some more workshop stuff and get back through that application and get it created for you. I want you to have that so you can refer back to it in the future. It's also a great way to show a potential employer an app that you've already created. So those of us that are looking for work, it would be nice to just have this thing on your phone and they say, hey, what have you built in Salesforce? You can hand them your phone and be like, look, I built this app.
So Ryan, we're supposed to already start creating that app, the one for the assignment that you gave us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I haven't even started. Okay, I guess I'll do that. I'll start doing that. Thank you.
That's the assessment, quality assurance, savings summary stuff that we did. Just our app that we created.
Yeah, in the class, not the project itself, right?
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it? We've already done the security side.
Okay.
If you look, we did the security in the first part of the class, and then we built all the objects, we built all the relationships, we generated all the fields, we got everything to record type.
Okay.
We have our profile set up, right? Then we went and we did compact layouts and then record pages. So once all that's done, we can start layering on automation. Once it works, it's set up properly, the house is built, it's painted, there's furniture in place. Right now we can start automating. And when we come back on Tuesday, like I said, we'll take some time and we'll work on your projects together. And then after that, we'll continue with our automation stuff. Questions?
Yes, Ryan, there was a couple weeks that I had missed due to, working and stuff like that. And one week I just couldn't access. But I was wondering to see if you wouldn't mind updating all the different weeks, because last we're showing is day 12, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to do my absolute best to get everything updated in the meantime. I'm on a project right now, and I'm on the data migration portion of the project, and it's always a nightmare. So I've been kind of swamped, but I'll get, I don't even know how many classes we have. I do have all the recordings. I'm just going to try and clean them up and get them onto YouTube as quickly as possible.
Okay. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. All right, so thanks for joining us again today. I appreciate you guys sticking around and doing the hard part of this class with me. Like I said, the rest of it is kind of going downhill on your bike. So nice work. I feel like you guys did pretty well in the review. Those of you that answered questions. We'll continue to review as we move forward. I'm not just gonna, I like the repetition of the review because eventually you'll just memorize the points. But that said, I appreciate your time and attention. And if there's anything I can do for you in the meantime, let me know. But have a great afternoon and a great weekend.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourselves.